What's up, Super here. Today I'm bringing you another Call of Duty video, except this time it's not the usual Modern Warfare 3, it is the upcoming Black Ops 2. So recently Gamescom just wrapped up in Germany and we got to see some pro players actually play the game, which means we got to see some awkward nerd celebrations like that chest bump right there, which is always fun to watch. But more importantly, we got a ton of new details on the multiplayer of Black Ops 2. So previously, all we had was the multiplayer reveal trailer that you see playing in the background right now, but mostly what that was were just snippets of gameplay set to music, and we didn't really have any firm details. We were left to speculate. And a lot of YouTubers did breakdown videos where they played the trailer back and they just gave their thoughts on it and what they thought some of the things were, but we didn't know for sure. Well, a lot of that changed at Gamescom because not only did we get to see a ton of multiplayer footage, we also got to hear from the developers. So there were a lot of interviews with the lead developer, David Vonderhaar, and we just got a ton of new details confirmed. We learned a lot about the multiplayer, and I'm going to talk a little bit about it, but I'm also going to put in snippets of some of the interviews. So the first new feature is the Create a Class Pick 10 system.
Yes, you can take any 10 pieces of content in the system. There are still categories, like you know, but you don't have to take content. So let's say that you don't want to take a primary grenade. You can remove that entirely, whereas in our previous game, you always had to have something, right?
Yeah.
Even if you never tossed the thing.
Right.
You can remove it, then you can spend that point somewhere else for something that you do want. We've also gotten rid of all the weapon perks, right? Things that used to modify your gun. So take something like steady aim, which was a perk in Black Ops, right? In order to increase the hip fire accuracy of a weapon, you actually have to add it as an attachment called the laser sight in Black Ops 2. What that does for us is people don't expect an attachment to modify them. They expect an attachment to modify the gun. So I can actually increase or decrease how much it increases the hip fire accuracy on a per gun basis.
Right.
So let's go to the Ghost example, right? Here's a perk that we had in Black Ops that made you immune to the UAV.
Yeah.
Right?
Worst.
That's an absolute.
Yeah.
That is an absolute. You are immune to the UAV. End of story. Period. That's how that perk worked. Nothing. How do you tune an absolute?
You can't.
You cannot. Right. So now Ghost protects you from the UAV if you're moving.
Right.
Right.
And
so
now you can tune how much someone's moving. Where the detection comes up.
Exactly. Right. I can tune it all the way from you need to be full sprint all the way to not moving at all. That gives us a full range.
Yeah.
Perks are only modifying you, the player.
So crazy stuff right there. Ghost only protects you from UAV when you're moving. There are no more perks that modify your gun like sleight of hand, and you can really customize your classes with the new Pick 10 system. And there's also something called wild cards that allow you to bend the rules.
Then we've got the really interesting part, and those are the wild cards. You can take up to 3 wild cards. These are the rule breakers. These are the game changers. These are the things that let you bend and twist the rules of the system, the Create a Class system, the structure that it has in interesting new ways. So what we do a lot is we'll actually activate what we call the greed cards. Perk 1, Perk 2, and Perk 3 all have greed cards. By activating a greed card, you can actually, that gives you the ability to take a second perk in the same tier. There's also a wild card called Primary Gunfighter. If you activate that, you can actually put a third attachment on your gun.
So wildcards allow you to bend the rules by doing things like putting a third attachment on your weapon or taking an extra perk from a particular slot, but they also cost an extra point. So it'll be fun and interesting to see how people use those. So now let's move on to Scorestreaks, which is the new kill streak system in Black Ops 2.
Whenever you do something in the game, regardless of the event, it generates score for you. And that score is actually filling up what we call the momentum meter. So if you get a kill, it might be worth 50 points in a particular game mode. You shoot down a kill streak, it might be worth 25 points, right? You capture a flag, you might get a lot of points, right? And what we can do when you have score is actually use that granularity available in those numbers to reward objective players and guys who are helping their team win, while not taking anything away from the pure slayers, right? The pure KD guys.
So now you're going to earn your streaks like the Hellstorm missile that you see on screen right now by getting score instead of by points or streaks like it has been in past Call of Duties. And I think that this is one of the best additions to the series by Treyarch because I think it's really going to help encourage people to play the objective. So in most objective games, you get more score by capping a flag or playing the objective than you would by getting a kill. So it's going to move me towards my next streak a lot faster when I jump on that flag in domination than it would if I ignored it and just sat back and went for kills. So one of the best additions, in my opinion, to the series, and I think it's really going to encourage objective team play. Now, another question that people have had on the streaks are, do they stack? Does a kill from your streak help you towards the next streak? And the answer is yes, but it doesn't count as much as a gun kill. So in one of the videos at Gamescom, they were playing some team deathmatch, and the player was getting 100 score for each kill that he got with his gun. Now, when his streak got a kill for him, it only got him 25. So they do count to get you towards your next streak, but not as much as a gun kill. Moving on to the Assault Shield. The Assault Shield is very similar to the Riot Shield from previous Call of Duties, except you can now plant it into the ground and use it as a mobile cover system. And that's a little bit scary, although it is kind of cool. But it's scary because I know people are worried about campers using it and going into the corner and planting it down, or entire teams utilizing it as sort of a wall to keep people out of the objective. But I think it is destructible once you plant it down. So you see on the screen behind me, that one breaks up, so I think we don't have to worry about that. You'll also see the player on the screen right now has the combat knife in his hands, and it's been confirmed by Treyarch, if you don't pick a weapon, you will have the knife out. You'll also see him throwing those sticks into the ground, and those are a new piece of equipment called shock charges. So shock charges are very similar to flash grenades or stun grenades in that they will disorient and slow down the enemy by delivering an electric shock, but they don't have to hit the enemy right away. You can use them as sort of proximity mines in a way. So you can see he planted those in a defensive location near the flag, and if anybody comes into the vicinity, they'll get the electric shock. So there's sort of an alarm, sort of a defense system, and I'm looking forward to using them because they look really cool. Now, if you've noticed, at certain points in some of these clips, you'll see the guy up there talking in the top right of the screen, and that's part of the new COD casting feature of Black Ops 2. So as part of the revamped theater mode, you can now broadcast games live over the internet, which is really exciting because not only can you see the game, you can have an announcer calling the plays, you can pull up the scoreboard, you can pull up the mini-map, you can see what kind of kill streaks people are on, you can listen in on the team chatter so you can hear them talking strategy, and it's just some really exciting stuff. Now, one thing that we don't know is whether Treyarch is going to use their own service or whether they're going to partner up with an established service like YouTube or Twitch TV, but we may have got a hint. Listen to this.
And do really amazing things. In fact, Larry, in the theater feature, you can go back in games that have been already done and go back and cast those later. So you can create a whole series of channels. Just imagine what's going to happen when people have this in their hands. I expect guys to have entire channels full of casted matches, and we're going to find a new celebrity right here.
So notice he said channels a couple of times. I take that as a possible hint that they could be partnering up with YouTube. It would be a tremendous amount of work for Treyarch to build out their own service for the amount of bandwidth that it would take to stream games straight from the theater. And I'm thinking that they'll probably look to partner up with an established service like YouTube or Twitch TV that already does streaming. But from his use of the word channels, I'm thinking that could be a hint that they're going to use YouTube. And I think it makes a lot of sense if they do, because it would be a ton of work for Treyarch to build out their own service. And YouTube already has the infrastructure in place. They handle a ton of videos every day. They have a huge audience, and I think it would just make sense for these two to partner up for the live streaming feature. But that has not been confirmed yet, just a possible hint, and we're not sure what's going to happen at this point. So I'm going to wrap things up now, guys. We went over a lot of the new features of Black Ops 2, the new Pick 10 create a class system, the new perk system, the score streaks, so being rewarded for playing the objective and anything that you get a score for leading towards your next streak, and just some of the new exciting innovative features of Black Ops 2. If you liked this video, please subscribe. I took a lot of time on it. Leave a like, a comment, leave feedback, and let me know what you thought about the video and if you're excited about Black Ops 2. Thanks, guys. Peace.